Hey everybody, RockPaperMario here, and welcome back to Let's Play... Well, no, not welcome back. It's like the first video. Welcome back to this game that we've never played before. This is a game called Aether, which I'm actually quite a big fan of, which is quite a short little game, something that I wanted to record for quite a while. I decided to record it just for two reasons. First of all, to have something else that could go up, while Shenmue 2 is getting started, something small on the side, and also to do more testing with my new microphone. So yeah, let's have some fun. This is a really relaxing but quite sad little game, I find. We're going to get the story here. A story is told of a boy who was lonesome. See, what did I tell you? Nice and relaxing but sad and melancholy, who strayed a bit far from his home. Click on this weird little thing. As the daylight grew dimmer, he saw a faint glimmer, lost in the wake of sea foam. Oh, this is great. We have like a little rhyme. It kind of reminds me of that Tim Burton book, The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy, or whatever it's called. I think that's what it's called anyway. Which is all like little poems with little illustrations by Tim Burton. For the boy had a feeling that this monster was kneeling to offer his hand to a friend. See, we have the little boy here and this like Octorok kind of a thing. The boy darted away, but then turned to stay, afraid of the message he'd send. He lowered his head and the boy bustled up, looking proud atop his new steed. Yeah, nice little slant rhyme. For the boy had a venture, he was bound for adventure, and this monster had planted the seed. Looking up to the stars, he thought to himself, imagine all of the people up there. Okay, that didn't rhyme really. Oh no, it rhymes with the next one. Could all be as lonely, or am I one and only? Would the people on Earth really care? So our story unfolds, a boy and his pet, leaving his home without care or regret. Truly a tale that none will forget. So here we go. It's not actually that complicated. It's a regular old WASD thing, and then the mouse. Now I'm playing it with the trackpad, which makes it a little bit more tricky, but it's still very playable. It's not a hard game by any stretch of the imagination. And this is what you're going to be seeing, just like the boy and his friend, kind of like a little. It reminds me a bit of a boy and his blob, the way you have this like lonely boy on his own with a little friend that he's found from outer space. It's just really little. It's kind of cute, and all the planets have faces, little personalities, or whatever. So you might have noticed the soundtrack that I've chosen, which is I think a little special edition version, or like a little bonus for the Basement Collection version, is actually by Laura Shigihara, who is the composer who did a lot of music for Plant vs. Zombies. Also was involved in the soundtrack of To the Moon, so Everything's Alright and all that kind of stuff. But she didn't do all of the soundtrack for that, and she's actually making a game at the moment that's in development, which is going to be released soon, called Rakuen, which looks really, really interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it a whole lot. And I'll actually be able to play it now that I have the Windows computer, Count Dooku. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. The thing is, I didn't really explain this. Basically, we're going to slingshot our way through space towards one of these points. So I'm just picking the yellow one first because it was just the one that I fixated on. But at each of these points, there's going to be a planet where we're going to have something to do. There's going to be some abstract objective to make the inhabitants of the planet satisfied. But not all of what we do to satisfy some inhabitants of the planet is somewhat disruptive to other occupants of the planet, like you'll see. So it's like not all 100% positive. Here we are on planet Bibulon. We've got here like some mom face on this side of the planet. Is this one with like the caterpillar guy on it? No, and here we have this guy. And usually there'll be some. Yeah, it is. Look, I'll never amount to anything. They all think I'm dumb. And he doesn't say anything. The asshead. But basically, like, as I say, there's going to be like some abstract objective to perform, or abstract task to perform. It's not always like apparent what you'll have to do. As far as I remember on this one, you have to basically just stand on the little planets. There's going to be like several of these all around the what's the word I'm like looking for? Circumference, that's it. Sorry, it's kind of like hard to talk and concentrate on what I'm doing with like the physics at the same time. Now sometimes what you can do is just kind of like, you have to like give a little bit of a hop at least to get some momentum to be like off the ground, and then you'll be able to swing and like swing to some other cloud. See, there we go. Personally, I think he's pretty cool. And they crash into the surface and get subsumed. Now, where I actually heard about this game, I think the first time I saw this game, because it's made by your man Edmund Macmillan, who you probably know him for things like Binding of Isaac and Super Meat Boy and things like that. Like that's mostly what he's known for. I'll never go back home. Well, you are going back home because I'm driving you back home. What I think about this planet is that like the little planets around the circumference, I think they might be like the little children of the main planet, is the kind of impression I get. I'll go home when he leaves. I always think he's talking with the caterpillar guy when he's talking about that. When he says I'll go home when he leaves, because like the caterpillar or whatever he's supposed to be is so disenfranchised or unloved or whatever. Now, as far as I remember, one of these guys is actually pretty high up, because like there are 4 of them, aren't there? But yeah, the first contact that I had with this game was, you know that like documentary indie movie? Well, like Edmund Macmillan is one of like the featured game developers in that during the development of Super Meat Boy. Sorry, I'm just like hunting around for whichever one is the last one. During the development of Super Meat Boy, and they actually like they talked about this game as well, and kind of about like the themes that are in it that are common in his work, like things like an obsession with, not an obsession, but like monsters as a character, or kind of like boys who are somewhat lonely, or who have like troubles, or who have like a problem, and helping people, and different characters' interactions with each other or whatever. And they talked about this game, and then I think the Basement Collection either as I think I got it as a, there he is, there's the son of a bitch. I got it either as a gift one time, or else I just picked it up when it was on sale. But then I saw that this game was on it, because it's actually in the Basement Collection. It's in the Basement Collection on which is available for Steam. Sorry, I'm just like trying to figure out like the best way to get around to him. I could probably like swing around to him this way, because you need to like get up above them. Yeah, look, there are clouds like up there to the left. This one is actually taking me quite a while, but I've like historically had trouble with this, and it's actually a lot harder with the trackpad than it is like when you're playing with a mouse. But like at least we have some nice music here. It's just not easy, because you have to, like, it's not enough to tap, you actually have to like click in. There we go. I hate him so much. Well, do you know what? We don't need your negativity around here, mister. I'm just gonna drive you to be subsumed by your parents. And look, see, now like the colour palette changes slightly, we've actually accomplished the objective for this little planet. We'll go around, usually, like, yeah, see, I'll never amount to anything they think I'm dumb. One day I'll be great and show them all. So this is like the two contrasting sides of this character. He has like one like side that doesn't believe in himself and one side that does. And I think it's like, I suppose like the one, I don't know, like to me it looks like the one that doesn't believe in himself. Like he can't really, like obviously his back is turned to the one that can believe in himself. So he doesn't see him and he doesn't like get that kind of positive message. Now you'll see all sorts of things, like we're just like heading back out into space to our next objective here. I suppose we'll go to the blue one. You'll see all sorts of like random junk out here in space. It's actually really cool. Like you'll see stuff from like other games and things like that, even like references to other indie games, not necessarily by Ed McMillan. And just all sorts of interesting stuff, like you'll come across it randomly. Some of them you'll get achievements for as well, but it's just really cool because it's just such a lonely kind of game, and you start to really empathize with the different characters that you come in contact with as well. It's just really fascinating how such a simple game, because it is a simple short little game, like I don't know how many parts this is going to be, because I'm just planning on recording everything all in one go and then cutting it up because it's easier. I don't want to like break up the rhythm that I create or that I get into, if you know what I mean. Can't remember which one the blue one is. I think that's the water one. There's one that's like, see look, like shit like this you'll see. No, I didn't necessarily see, you'll like get catapulted all over the place. I wanted to show off that like little moon with all the different faces. I think we're actually in the gravity of this one already, so we'll probably be able to just drop down. There he is again, that's that moon, and one of them is sad. Yeah, this is the water one. So what does this guy have to say? There'll be like some, you're nothing special. Some of them say like really mean stuff. Like, and I don't know why. I can't remember what we have to do on this one actually. Oh, you have to like eat those things, that's what it is. But the gravity is kind of like I don't know how to explain it. Like, well no, it's not gravity. What it is that you're the character, like the octopus guy who's your friend, he's like he's constantly being pulled up to the surface. So you're kind of like fighting against the pull of floating back up. He's actually like a little, like an ocean sunfish is what he looks like. There can't be, there must only be one more here, because I can't see. There he is, there's only one more. Come on, get this little neophyte. And look, it all just comes to life, and you just get a real like sense of accomplishment by solving whatever problem there is, like by making the planet happy, because it's like the core of the planet is happy. Got this happy little island here now with the palm tree, and you just have a real sense of, as I say, it's a sense of accomplishment, really. I don't know what other way to say it, but a sense of like that you've actually made some sort of a positive difference in this universe, to this world where there was negativity. But then I suppose there's always going to be, I mean, as I say, like, I mean, what we did was positive for the planet, and that the core of the planet is happy now. But the core of the planet is happy now, but we just killed or ate all of those little babies. And it was the same on that other planet. I mean, we reunited all the little planetoids with the main planet. But see, look, there's something back there. Hang on, there was something back there. Look here. What's he saying? Oh my god, the crybaby. I can hear her calling me. Jeez. Like, I don't know, there's just something really kind of simply melancholy about this game. Like, it doesn't make a big deal out of things, and because it doesn't make a big deal out of things, it's all the more effective, if you know what I mean. But I actually, like, obviously, like, that was the first time I'd ever seen that out here in space, because I just got an achievement for it. But I've never actually seen what a map of this game would look like, to be honest. Like, I can only imagine. Oh god. Oh, I remember this one. What's he have to say? What you have to say, mister? He just said it there. Oh no, it's this little thing. It's sad to be alone. All alone on this planet. This is the one where you have to, like, swing to all of the crystals, isn't it? I don't know. The music is pretty cool as well. Like, as I said, this is like the Laura Shigihara remix, so this isn't like what it would have sounded like originally. Oh great, I touched the ground. Well, this is probably better because I have like a... There's some guy going berserk up there on the surface. I should probably, like... No, see, you're not allowed to touch the ground. It's really interesting because it makes like an interesting little challenge out of just like such a simple mechanic, because the only mechanic is your tongue. Like, that's the only mechanic that there is, and as you've seen, there we go. Got this cool little ice cave atmosphere in here. Yeah, well, maybe if you went out onto the surface instead of being stuck in here, because there's like some other guy out there that you could be socializing or interacting with. But yeah, as you saw, like, each of the how are we gonna get out of here now is the next thing. Oh, there's like a cloud up there. Each of the planets has like a different little, like, uses the same mechanics and in a different way. Sorry, I'm probably like making you guys sick here or something. I want to see that other guy, that guy that was going around on the surface, that big guy who was going ballistic out here. Where is he? There he is. I'll be happy when I'm dead. He looks happy enough as it is, like he has a big goofy grin on his face. But I suppose like looking one way and like saying another thing. Or feeling one way and looking another way. There's actually like another little game that's not that long that I'd like to LP in the basement collection as well. Called Coil, which is actually really good. Apparently it's supposed to be like the origin story of what's his name, Dr. Fetus or Professor Fetus or whatever his name is, that guy who's the villain in Super Meat Boy. I've never really got into playing Super Meat Boy because those kind of games just aren't, like, you guys know, that you guys who've seen my Super Mario Maker videos know that I'm just not interested in games that are just really, really hard and challenging for the sake of being really, really hard and challenging. And geez, I remember I watched back in the day. Look, there's like a little skeleton thing up there. Wait a second, there was like something over there. Some big thing. Look at this. Just some enormous leviathan floating through space. This game always reminds me actually of, there's this one really good episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog that they actually never really used to show that often, but it was actually one of my favourite episodes. Oh, this is actually Earth. Okay. How fascinating. So is this where we started? No, because the house isn't here. I don't think you actually do anything on Earth, do you? I can't remember. Or does it explode? I have it like in my head that it actually explodes. But I can't remember whether like Earth is actually one of the planets you save or whether one of the planets you interact with. I had it in my head that all it does is blow up, but I can't be too sure. It's actually been quite a while since I played this game. The objectives usually explain themselves. There we go. That's actually a good vantage point to actually do a bit of reconnaissance. Go around in a circle. But yeah, I remember Pyrodragon LPing it back in the day. All the way back in, it must have been 2011. And oh my god, that game looked fucking shit hard. Here's the moon. What does he have to do? Save for himself. But so far, nothing else around here. As I say, I don't think Earth is one of the planets that are actually your objective. If it turns out to be, I'll just come back. Won't be that big a deal. Though, as I say, I have like a memory of it like blowing up or something. Like, it's definitely sad for some reason. Of course, well, I wouldn't blame the Earth for being sad. Someone was only saying that to me at work the other day. Like, that the things that happen on our planet are just ridiculous. Like, the way, like, just the things that happen in general that are due to the influence of the human race. Like, when you think about it, like, it can't be normal that an entire planet is so obscenely dominated by one species. Like, that just can't be normal, can it? I'm just gonna head to this green planet, because I know what that is. That's the one that, the green planet is the one with the hole in the ozone there, or whatever it's called. But yeah, it can't be normal for one planet to be, for a planet to be so obscenely dominated by just one species, surely. And then when you think of like what theoretically could be out in outer space and the infinite reaches of the universe that we don't know about. I'm stuck here because I'm bad. He must have been exiled or something to this gaseous planet. Now this one will actually have to go up pretty high. Yeah, because that thing's like floating around, but they're actually these UFOs. Look, see, there's one of them. They're actually these UFOs, and they're the ones that are causing the gas. See? Well, no, not UFOs. They just remind me of UFOs. Oh no, now I remember. You have to, like... This is what you have to do, but with them. You actually have to, like, spin around, and it, like, you can't really see it properly, but it's, like, distressing them. And you have to distress them until they blow up. It's like... You know, as I say, I'm not sure, like, how I feel about that. Like, how I feel about the fact that we're, like, doing this. Like, is it, like, it's the best for the planet, surely. For this, like, for, like, the planet in one way. But in another way, it's, in another way, like, we're destroying these other planets. It's like, we're making the... Like, we're actually basically just after coming here from outside, from somewhere else, and we're deciding that we know what's best for this entire ecosystem. Now this one's kind of tricky because you'll actually end up grabbing onto the clouds. He has so many clouds around him. Oh, that's what it is. You can actually just hold the one direction. You don't even have to change the direction. Okay, once you get going. What was I saying about like that episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog? Oh yeah, there's like an episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog that this game always reminds me of. Which has like the which is about these squid that just lonesomely float through space. Well, see, we're after making the planet happy at the expense of those other planets, and the guy who's bad is apparently gone. He's nowhere to be found. So I don't know. As I say, I'm not really sure how I feel about what we're doing here. Coming in here from outside and just deciding we know what's best for these other worlds that people and characters and creatures are living in. Got all those things flying in the background. No, there must be something you do with Earth. Oh no, now I know what it is. Isn't Earth like the last one you visit? Yeah, that's what it is, okay. As far as I remember. But yeah, there's this really, like, emotional... Well, I found it really emotional when I was younger. I'd probably still find it really emotional now. That's not to say everyone would find it extremely emotional. There's this really emotional episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog about this squid. This enormous space squid lands in nowhere and lays eggs or has babies or whatever. And then dies, and then there are these other scientists that want to research the babies, but like the squid mother's last dying wish was to oh my god, see, we blew it up, I told you. The squid mother's last dying wish was to have her babies be free in space or whatever. And it's just a really touching kind of an episode. It's just really nice. Look, we've got the moon here. That's going to become the new Earth, I suppose. As the boy delved in deeper, his imagination went wild, and the grasp of reality was left from this child. The impact he caused broke his tie to the earth, but his fears and his worries had caused a rebirth. Being lost in his dream, his imagination expanded, and with the aid of the beast he commanded. This boy would live on in the memories of the past. The boy would find hope in a future he'd cast. To be continued. So yeah, that's actually it. That's actually Aether. A really touching little, cute little melancholy game that I've wanted to LP for quite a while. I hope you enjoyed it. It's playable as part of the Basement collection, which is available on Steam, which also includes some really cool little games like, as I say, Coil, which I'm thinking of actually LPing. That'd probably be one video, and it's actually really interesting. It reminds me a lot of that game I played, Deus Ex Machina, for the ZX Spectrum. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks a million for watching. I'll see you on the next project. Bye now.